Welcome along, guys. It is round 5 of our championship here on the Wednesday night, and it is race day. And of course, it is qualifying. We've got the pro-ams out first due to a server restart. It is actually now a little bit wet, so it's going to be quite interesting how the guys adapt to this and adapt then in the race as well. Be interesting to see what way the rain does go. As you see there, it looks like the rain's going to increase in 30 minutes as well. So that should be quite interesting to see the dynamic of this race. I do love a wet race. Of course, the last proper wet race we had was a flooded Suzuka. So let's see how this does go. Yeah, we're on with Liam Smith at the minute. Finley Gamble's out, Ferrante, Agostino Jr., Polycott, Terry Dunn is in the pits, and then of course with the pros, they can go at the 10-minute mark. On the stream, you might see 2 new logos. I'll do a full announcement in the Discord soon on that, but I will officially say here we are partners now with Gridfinder and Traxon as well. We are advertising for them, and yeah, it's a partnership that's going to be quite fruitful for supercharged motorsport community in whole as well. I think as for Gridfinder, with the growth, I'm working quite closely with the devs and Tom in the background at the minute, and Gridfinder's getting an overhaul on how it's going to look when you log on and search for leagues. The league tool's getting massively updated, and I'm going to officially announce now, because it's in the bag pretty much now, that Gridfinder are sponsoring our iRacing Championship alongside with Traxon. I will be releasing what the prizes are for that championship. It's going to be free entry, and yeah, it's going to be absolutely epic. It's live already on iRacing. It's a 5-race IMSA season, a mix of GTPs, P2 with the Dallara and GT3s as well, but more on that another day. We are in qualifying here, and at the minute it's looking like it's going to be quite interesting. Liam there makes just a little bit of a hard one. His best so far is a 136.6, so he is on provisional pole at the minute. Agostino Jr. though is on a valid lap and improving by 3/10 at the minute. I do feel Ferrante might be going for a decent lap as well. That Finley Gamble, who we know is quite fast. Terry Dunn is out there now as well, and Chris Polycott is also quite a fast driver. We will see Chris out there also. Yeah, it's going to look like super competitive then in terms of the pros going out. I was watching through practice just how close that it has been, so it's going to be super interesting how this race does develop through. And of course with the championship as well, I'll add in the standings from next week as well, so we can go through that. And there's quite a lot to discuss there in terms of the championship. With Supercharged Motorsport, we are running the Friday sprints as well as the Wednesday championship here. The Friday sprints have been absolutely epic so far. Last week, of course, I did come back. I had a week off comms for the Wednesday and then the Friday previous, so I came back last Friday, and Zolder didn't disappoint, and I'm hoping tonight doesn't disappoint either. As we see, Liam Smith still holds on to provisional pole, not by much, only a few tenths in it, to Chris Polycott. Finley Gamble then P3. Augusto Jr., I was just about to say we're going to have a look at him. He's jumped up 6/10 clear of Liam Smith. Great lap there by Augusto Jr. Liam will have to come back at that one there as well. I'd be surprised if I'm able to talk for the full 75-minute race tonight. I done the 1-chip challenge this morning as part of a thing with work, and I tell you one thing, it was an experience to say the least. My insides feel like there's still central heating in them, but we'll see how it does play out in the morning on the toilet pole, as they say. We're missing Glenn Smith this evening by the looks of it. I see Glenn's not. Oh no, he's there actually. I'm lying. I didn't see him there, but he is in there. Good to see him. I thought we were missing Glenn. I'm looking forward to see what he does here as well in the Ferrari. It seems to be quite a popular choice. Liam on an invalidated lap. He will now have to go hell for leather, but also in limits. Finley Gamble though is only 0.115 off from there, starting a new lap and up a bit of time. Chris Polycott's only 2/10 off him. Anthony Ferrante still hasn't set. I know he can go faster than that, so he hasn't set an official lap really as of yet. In terms of that, Terry Dunn goes up to P5. And of course, Terry getting his eye in. I'm definitely expecting Anthony Ferrante to come up a lot closer to these guys as well. So don't let that ever be a difference there. So Juarez there doing a great job in the AM side of things, or pro-am should I say. And across the line he goes to start a new lap. Now Finlay Gamble is still going on the lap. Now he's not really improving at the minute, but he might find time. He's not down time either. And as I say, he might find time. He's invalidated there, as has Polycott. Liam Smith is improving. I won't say by how much, but it's quite an impressive amount at the minute. He's given it socks here. He's kept the car going. He just needs really the good braking zone here, good exit, and a good braking zone then into the penultimate chicane. He runs a bit wide but keeps it going. I actually comms coursed him. He was up nearly 9/10. He was on for quite a nice jump up there, but he knows that's his qualifying over. Actually, he's not going to make it in time from the lap. Salim is definitely starting out of position. Do I hear the guys already queuing up at the exit? I do. Wow, Chris Tedder is right on it there. He's going to move up a little bit. He needs to stop though, Chris needs to stop. He's not to cross that line. I'll keep an eye on that, Chris. Don't you? Oh, they're trying to argy-bargy their way there. Right, while that's going on, I'll check back on Chris in a minute. He won't move. So Juarez there, he's out on a lap at the minute. He is actually improving a little bit, but he's lost a bit coming out of the corner. He might just improve a little bit, and he does by 0.020 of a second. Finlay Gamble is flying out there at the minute, but has invalidated his lap just now. That's him done and dusted. Chris Polycott done and dusted. As I jump on, Terry Dunn still on a lap. Can he pull any time back? Will be quite interesting as Chris is holding the guys up. You know, he's probably dead right in the way anyway. It makes no odds, and away he goes. Fair play to Chris. That's how we like to see it done. They move at the 10-minute mark. Of course, we don't mind people queuing in the pit lane. I know a lot of leagues don't like that. I don't care. They do it in real life. They can do it here as well. So now they're released. So Finlay Gamble is going to have to go into the pits, as is Augusto Jr., as is Dunn and Polycott's in the pits. I'm expecting Dunn, Gamble, and Augusto to be going in. Gamble's going in. Although Augusto did cross the line in time, so technically he can finish this lap if he's up and then get straight into the pits. So we'll stay on with him as he's on a live lap. Now I know Chris had very good practice. Will he be able to convert that in the race? I don't know, but we'll find out. So Augusto there, oh, a bit sideways, goes through anyway. He's going to improve a bit more, so he's pulled out another few tenths, so he's now 2.5 tenths clear of his closest competitor. I don't Liam Smith in massively out of position, so we'll be keeping a very close eye on that. And look at the queue of cars here. They are eager to go. So Chris getting his car prepared to go. So we'll go on with Chris for a full lap here as he's getting ready. This is his first time driving it now in the wet, of course. They were all in the dry conditions. Bit of understeer there, gets it through, gets back on the power. You see Chris trying to fight the wheel to find where the grip is as well at the minute. This is an information lap as well. Even though he can get a little banker in, he'll be looking for that information to see where the grip is and isn't. Oh, and it's definitely not out there, bud. So unfortunately for Chris, not working out too well from there. So who's actually behind Chris? That's who I'm going to go on with. Go on to the wing to see what car it is. Is it John Dudley? Yeah, it is. So we'll stay on with John here now. On a Nissan. Of course, the Nissan is slightly older GT3 car. Not much of a view of the road out with this inside cam here. Looking at his inputs, Oh, I'm ruining everyone that I go on with. This is great fun. Who would I ruin next? Dominic Gise. I know he was quite tasty in this car in practice as well. Where John Dudley didn't make sure Morris Boutin just ahead of him as well. The inside of the Lamborghini there. The noise of that V10 as well is just absolutely beautiful. Dominic doing a great job there, keeping on track, as is Morris ahead. Morris was fastest in the practice session. So let's see how he does get on as well. It'll be interesting to see, can he convert it onto a pole position. So I guess though, still provisioning on pole until a few of these guys set their laps. Some may be faster, some may not, as Glenn Smith starts on his lap there now. So with the first one, Usmanov has got P3 at the minute on his first lap out there. You have Dominic Gise in the P2 on his first lap out. Fantinosi goes on provisional pole on his first lap out in the Ferrari. Morris Boutin P7, Stuart Pryor P10. So yeah, they're all finding their feet. This man Chris Tedder here had to get off the power a bit, but gets back on and has kept it going, which is good to see. I just won't be able to tell you where he is in terms of sector times yet, just because he hasn't put a proper lap in to really see if he's improving. I can see Usmanov is improving. I can see Morris Boutin is improving. I can see Dominic Gise is improving. Costa, who's up in P2 at the minute, is improving. As is Fantinosi. As is Stuart Pryor, they're all improving now. So literally it was just an exploration lap, the first lap. I'm expecting Chris Tedder to be up in that top 5. Ron O'Sullivan, P9, but also improving as well. Morris Boutin's improving probably by the most at the minute. Fantinosi is after invalidating his lap. Might jump on with Morris Boutin here, because this looks like it's a very, very, very strong lap if he's able to make it to the end. And it'd be interesting to see here. Dominic Gise is invalidated his lap, so he's out of the way. Nice and smooth through the last corner there from Morris. So this is going to pop him up, but just not enough. Chris Tedder, a great lap there by Chris. A 1:35.025. Morris Boutin a 1:35.472. Chris Tedder there pulls out a stonker of a lap. Of course, Tedder, a good mate of mine as well with Amigos. And of course his application as well, which we will be happily advertising. So if you do run a button box at all, but mainly if you're using it on the Stream Decks, this app is absolutely for you. If you run in ACC, of course iRacing will be coming in along with other sims into this app. More on that next week, I would say, once I officially throw the logo in, and we'll have a look over that as well. But down into 4 minutes left. Everybody's still improving. Glenn Smith here improving by quite a bit here as well. Glenn Smith could be looking here at a possible top 3, or even better if he's able to keep improving the whole way to the end. Nicely done on exit. Slow exit though compared to his last lap, but still up quite a chunk of time. Could possibly be P3. Let's see how he gets through. It's very, very smooth. Very, very smooth. Nice on the exit there. That's what I like to see. That is a great one. So for Glenn Smith, that's probably P2. Yes, it is. Great lap there by Glenn, a 1:35.157. Dominic Gise is up on a stonker of a lap as well here. Could possibly be close to Chris Tedder. Where does Dominic Gise go? P3. Wow. Fantinosi just jumps across him as well in a 1:34.6. So he's after making Tedder go 3/10 down. Fantinosi absolutely flying out there. John Dudley improving on his lap at the minute in the older Nissan, giving the big boys a go as well. Dominic Gise improving already, and he's only 20 odd seconds into the lap. Brilliant stuff. As well as Glenn Smith. So everyone is improving. Unfortunately for Ryan O'Sullivan goes up into P1. Wow, a 1:34.507. It's all happening here now. And you know what? Morris thought that Ryan was maybe running higher fuel in dry in the practice starting to look like that may have been the case there. That was a nice little hidden thing there from Ryan. Fair play to him. Looking elsewhere now, guys, because there's more than just them racing. Andy Polycott's out on a lap there now. Then we have Sianowski. He's gone back to the pits. Costa now down in P11, but is improving. John Dudley is improving and could probably put himself anywhere between 10th and 5th, to be honest. 6th, it really depends on his exit here. Not sure this exit was good enough. He'll jump probably one spot. He does only the one spot there. I do feel there was a bit more left on the table for John there, so we'd say we go. I'm going to jump on my Chris Tedder here now, because this lad's absolutely flying. 20 seconds in and already up 0.2 of a second. Now, if you've seen on Friday, Chris had a very tough race. His setup was very understeer. He didn't have the front end. But talking to Chris there during practice, and I know for a fact he is now using a different setup. He has the front end. He's able to get that turn in how he likes it. So it'll be interesting to see, can he put the fight on for pole position. But we do know with Chris, he always seems to get faster in the race, and especially now that he has a setup that's suiting his style, this could be super, super interesting. So let's see how this goes. Where are we now? Morris Bhutan is on a nice lap there, up a good bit of time. Not enough for pole position though, but massively improving his time. This is looking quite good. He's only a few tenths off, so he's not even far off. So it's all down to the next two corners. I know if you get the braking just right, get the exit perfect, you could gain a lot of time here, because it's a long spin down to that last chicane, but he is still sitting around 1.5 tenths off or so. So this could be a mega chicane here. The exit just got him a little bit, but he's not going to be far off. P2 for Morris Bhutan, 0.60 off Ryan O'Sullivan there. So that was a great lap. Chris Tedder, though, is on a flyer. He's only 35 seconds in and is up about 0.4 of a second. As I say, about it can change with an exit like that. Hitting the curb is going to slow you down. Dominic Gise is up a bit of time as well. That's not going to help his cause. John Dudley's up a few tenths here as well. Costa up a few tenths as well. So everybody is improving still. As Costa goes into P10. Great job from him. I'm going to stay on, actually. Tedder's given up on his lap. Dominic Gise is actually flying. Going to stay on now. He's invalidated his lap. I was wondering why it was getting faster and faster. So Glenn Smith is improving, but he needs to find more time if he can now in the last corner, because John Dudley may scare him coming into the last corner. Dudley needs a much better exit now. No, the sideways killed him, we'd say there. Yeah. Sorry, John, I comms cursed you. And that's it for Glenn. Oh, good luck, Glenn. That is it for qualifying. Ryan O'Sullivan, pole position in quite wet conditions. 134.507. Morris Bhutan 0.60 off him, with Fantinosi 0.175 off. And as you can see on your screen, from 1st to 10th, there's a second covering them. And yeah, that's absolutely brilliant. Anthony Ferrante didn't get the lap that he deserved in, but I know he definitely is not that far off in pace, so he's going to have a good fun race. And yeah, looking forward to some good battles here this evening. So while they're loading in, what I might do is do a make do standings. I might just open up the standings on SimGrid, drag it across, and we can have a quick nose through it, just to fill in a second or two as we do go into a bit of a nighter race. Let's press drive on that one, you know. So it's kind of wet, but it's going to dry up. So season 6 LFM Bop and standings. Now, a few of these drivers do show up as DSQ. They just would be missing a race and back in. So at the minute, in the pro category, Pavlov is leading the championship. He's on 149 points, 1 point behind his Porkashov. Giuseppe Castellano is in third position. He's on 128 points. Then we've got Fantanos. He's on 127, but he's absolutely flying. Ryan O'Sullivan's on 126. Morris Bhutan's on 122 with Glenn Smith on 108. Then Chris Hedder's on 89, joint with Dominic Issa. Then we have John Dudley on 84. He's banned. So Artemis Spatuzzi's not. He's on 79 points. Aaron Holloway is on holidays. So as much as he probably wants to be racing, he's probably living it up right now. So we won't see Aaron for maybe another week or two. So he's on 75, but unfortunately we'll miss another few. Then we've got Jack Holden, who's on 63. Mario Costa is on 43, joint with Usmanov. Nathan Warren's on 41. Then we have Craig Hewlett, who's on 39 points. And it goes back and back. But over in the Pro-Am Championship, it is a much smaller championship this season, with a lot of drivers just either not racing or just, you know, maybe don't feel up to it as well. But Liam Smith's leading this championship. When could we ever say in our lives Liam Smith will be leading the championship? I'm fainting. He's on 184 points. Anonymous Rat is in P2 on 175. Juarez Augusto is on 154, with Chris Polycott then on 136 from Anthony Ferrante. Then we've got Terry Doan on 84 points. Finley Gamble's on 75. We've got Stanek, who's on 63 points. Roman is on 60 points. Ben Shawley's on 49 points. Then Anton is on 44, along with Barry Dunn on 44 as well. And the rest kind of come and go when they can race, which is absolutely fine. Also, I want to advertise really quickly. Oh, I'll just go on to it the easiest way I know how. No, wrong one. And here we go. I want to show you, we're actually doing a 3-hour race on the 15th of this month, and it is going to be 3 different splits. So we're going to have GT4s, GT2s and GT3s. Go over to SimGrid and sign up for this one today, guys. It's going to be a lot of fun, and it's the same day that we release our iRacing League as well, which is going to be absolutely epic, which is sponsored by Grid Finder. And while I'm going to mention Grid Finder, I'm just going to run a quick ad for them really quickly, and then we get on with looking at the grid. Yes, so back to the grid here now, guys. So Ryan O'Sullivan, of course, is on pole position from Morris Bhutan in P2. Then in P3 we have Fantanossi. P4 then is Chris Tedder. P5 is Dominic Issa. P6 is Konstantin Pavlov. P7 is Glenn Smith. P8 is John Dudley. P9 is Artem Usmanov. P10 is Mario Costa. P11 is Stuart Pryor. P12 is Juarez Augusto Jr. P13 is Matthias Sinowski. Ruin his name. Finley Gamble's in P14. P15 is Chris Polycott. P16 is Liam Smith. P17 is Terry Dunn. P18 is Andy Polycott. And P19 is Anthony Ferrante. So without further ado, we're just going to get on and into this one here. It is a wet track, but it's going to go and dry out. So we expect this to be quite a fast race near the end. Of course, it's 75 minutes long this evening, and will be full of the good side of action as well, which is nice. So fingers crossed for a good opening lap. Of course, it is double penalties. 4 drivers on the first lap. It's one mandatory pit stop. It's only fuel only. Up to drivers whether they want to change tyres. I'm sure a lot of these probably will at some stage change tyres as well. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's a short lap as well. So our short formation lap, should I say? And as we come up here to the line, it's about to go green any second. And it's green and we go live. And Ryan O'Sullivan got a great start there. Morris Bhutan doing a good job. But look at Fantinosi on the inside of Morris Bhutan is going to get that position there. Chris Tedder as well, looking on the outside. Chris Tedder is after flopping around by Morris Bhutan. Is he going to get by Fantinosi here as well? This is great stuff. Fantinosi is the inside line for the next part. Christo runs a bit wide, barely holds it on. Morris under pressure now from Pavlov just behind there as the guys go clear. I'm going to keep an eye on this one as Fantinosi and Tedder giving it a bit of a go as well. At the minute though, it looks like every car, am I safe in saying every car is made it through? Pavlov versus Bhutan. Pavlov is after getting through. Bhutan's been very cautious on this opening lap here. So it looks like he's under a bit of pressure. So then Dominic Gise and Glenn Smith's actually after overtaking a few cars there as well. Augusto Jr. is there with Ismanov. Glenn Smith's got by them. Back further, Sianowski's after getting up a few positions, as is Liam Smith, Finley Gamble there as well. Terry Dunn and Costa swapping positions. So Costa's lost a few places there on the start of this one there as well. Terry Dunn will be happy with that. Dudley is after overtaking Bhutan. Bhutan's coming back side by side around this last bit. It's going to be a drag race between the BMW and the Nissan. Morris gets a bit sideways. John Dudley though in that drag race in the Nissan gets by. Now Dudley is, or sorry, Bhutan is under pressure from, it looks like Dominic Gisa is after getting by. Then he's got behind him, it looks like Glenn Smith. I'm wondering, did he start on slick tyres and the rest possibly maybe started on those wet tyres? I'll ask him further down the line on this one there. Ryan O'Sullivan though still in the lead by about a second from Fantinosi. Chris Tedder about half a second away there from Fantinosi in P3. Then Pavlov about a second off in P4. Then we've got Dudley 1.7 seconds off them in P5. Dominic Gise is about 2 seconds off in P6. Morris Bhutan's under massive pressure now. He's got Glenn Smith only a tenth off. Oh, that looks like one of the polycuts behind. Then we have, it looks like Augusto Jr. looking to get by. Augusto absolutely flying out there with that McLaren. And Glenn had a little bit of a sideways moment there. Composes himself and gets back going. Liam Smith showing a few shapes, as is one of the polycuts. I think is after losing it. He's after hitting Augusto Jr. He's got the braking completely wrong there, and I'm not going to be surprised the stewards will be looking at that one after as well. That is super unlucky. He just got the braking way too late. He did try to avoid it, but just unfortunately clipped Augusto, and he'll be facing the wrath of the steward. And after that, as Finley Gamble gets by Simonowski there as well. It's just happening everywhere I look. It's super close at the minute. Usmanov there looking for a move on Terry Dunn. You've got then Costa just behind him. Pryor's right there also as well. This is exactly what racing is all about. It's super close. Even Podica with Ferrante back going super close. Fantanuzi half a second off Ryan O'Sullivan here as well for the race lead. Chris Tedder just sitting a little bit back at the minute, waiting to see what happens, I'm assuming. Just to see what's going to happen there between the two of them. As Finley Gamble and Sianowski side by side. I wouldn't mind, they're two different splits, but Finley Gamble has epic pace. They are allowed race. Simonowski, that was just, I don't know what that was. I just don't know what that was. Let me go back 15 seconds to see that. They're side by side, which is fine. Finley has a much better line. Simonowski, it's like he just wasn't turning. That will be looked at by the stewards obviously as well. We've software running, pulls up all the incidents, but that's super unlucky. So Glenn Smith having a good one. He is by Morris Bhutan. Costa versus Dunn. Costa wins that battle there. But back to Bhutan here. He's Liam Smith now right behind him. His brother Glenn is just in front of him. I don't know how he feels about being in a Smith sandwich. Some people may dream of it. That's Matty Gamble's dream. Oh, Glenn has lost it by himself, but he's not able to keep it going. He's going to have to wait. So Liam Smith's after getting by Morris there as well. Go back to where is Glenn. Oh, down in P16 now. Gets by and gets back on. That was super unlucky there for him. Back on though, Fantanozzi. And absolutely flying. It's still there. Chris Tedder behind has the fastest lap. A 13.330 last lap there. Morris Bhutan though sticking with Liam Smith. I think Morris just might be getting his head back into his Stuart Pryor is pushing on Usmanov. Then behind that, Costa and Dunn are also right there, as well as Polycott, Stajanowski. Augusto Jr. is right back with it as well. Augusto Jr. is going to go try the inside, then he thinks better of it. He's got quite a bit of damage on the front of that McLaren. He can pit early if he wants, but it's probably too early yet in case there is a change of tyres needed. The track has gone from wet to damp since the start of the race, so it'll be interesting to see how much more evolves. Liam Smith though and Dominic Giese. Wow, Liam Smith's after flying by. Let's go back to see what happened there as Liam gets a much better drive by the looks of it. And gets his way by there. And he's more than entitled to that inside line. Good move there by Liam Smith. I'm wondering, is Liam on wet tyres? It's super interesting to know who's on wets and who's on dries. Usmanov though has Bhutan ahead, Pryor behind. And doing a nice job. I love that livery of Pryor's car, I have to say. Back on with Mr. Tedder. And he is flying out there. Fantanuzzi is trying to cool his tyres, so I'm wondering, Fantanuzzi must be on wets. Be interesting to see if they're all on wets though. Let me see. Well, Morris now is coming back at Giese. I'm just wondering, was that a phase of being on dry tyres and wet conditions, and now it's coming back to him? As it seems that going from wet to damp would have helped that out quite a bit. Stajanowski and Polycott swapping positions there, then just behind. Augusto Jr. is also right there. But it looks like Polycott's trying to come back at him as well. Finley Gamble's down in P18 as well. So, some interesting stuff so far. Few incidents in there at the minute, nothing too major. And it'd be interesting for me to look back on. So Fantanuzzi is starting to warm up. I'm going to go back here to the Usmanov and Bhutan battle, as it's now very close. And he's looking to try and put the pressure on his teammate, but Morris is holding his ground. Of course, two very different cars, front engine rear wheel drive Beamer versus mid engine rear wheel drive McLaren. One's a V8, one's a 6-cylinder. Oh, as Pryor runs very late on the brakes there and will have lost a bit of time there. And he is under a bit of pressure as well from Costa just behind also. Chris Tedder then improves his fastest lap to 1:32.952 as well, just for those who are interested in those kind of things. But this is really good stuff here from the guys. Pryor doing a great job there. Augusto Jr. and Polycott though swapping positions. Polycott's trying to come back, but Augusto absolutely nailing it there and has the job done there for now. Stajanowski though is starting to put the pressure on Dunn. They're both on the same machinery. It's going to be a matter of getting the correct... Oh, as Dominic Giese is after dropping it by the looks of it. What happened to him? Because he's by himself. Was it the curb that got him? Just the rear went on him. That's not an error that I'd ever see Dominic Giese do. So super rare error you'd see from Dominic. I could say that's possibly a tyre related thing. I'm pretty sure I've seen him and one or two others trying to cool off tyres, which it makes sense if they are running the wet tyres, if they're overheating. So Pryor on the inside of Bhutan here. Pryor's going to hold the inside line. Bhutan's going to try and hold it around the outside. Bhutan though gets a nice exit, as does Pryor, but I do feel Bhutan might have had a chance up the inside if he's able to keep side by side. He's able to keep side by side. He's able to make sure the Aston runs a bit wide, but no, he gets on the brakes a bit earlier and lets him get the job done there. So Morris down now to P9 with Costa right behind him as well. Then behind that, Terry Dunn and Sinaski side by side here as Andy Pollycott's in the pits there. Terry Dunn though holding his Sinaski goes around the outside and now has the inside line now for turn 2. So I'm assuming here he should have the job done. Terry Dunn though is not giving up. Terry's trying for a little bit of a switch back to try and hold on to the line, but Sinaski there has done a great job and has got that move done. That's absolutely brilliant stuff here from both of them drivers to be able to run side by side like that as well. Back on with the lead kind of battle here as well. They haven't been shown in a few minutes as well. So you have there Ryan O'Sullivan P1, Fantanozzi P2, Chris Tedder P3, and a little bit back then you can see in the background was Pavlov. So less than a second and a half covering the three of these drivers at the minute. And Tedder has the fastest overall lap time. They're all averaging low 33s at the minute. I do feel as the track is drying up like this, as Finley Gamble gets himself a drive-through, as the track is drying up, you're going to see these guys absolutely push each other to the max as Sinaski gets himself by Costa. Let's go back and have a look at that one. So Costa's ahead, the Sinaski send it down the inside, he gets a lovely drive, goes towards the outside, brakes that bit later, gets hard on the brakes and is able to make the corner. And then that was beautifully done from him. That was an opportunistic move that worked out absolutely perfect. And they're still fighting there. As I see Finley Gamble's in the pits. I do see other cars in the pits as well. It looks like it's Manoff and Dunn is in the pits also. Chris Pollycott's also in the pits. So Ionoski having a great one now. It's getting super close with the guys up front. Less than 6/10 of a second covering the three of them here. This is getting super close. Ryan O'Sullivan will be under a bit of pressure. Of course, he has been a race winner here in Supercharged Motorsports this season, but Fantanozzi I'm pretty sure also has, and Tedder has won also in the sprints but wants to make it right here in the Wednesday Championship as well, and all of these will be giving it everything. While they're kind of still having their way, Pavlov and Dudley now. We missed it off the stream, Mr. Dudley. I'm very sorry, but Pavlov has lost a position to Dudley. Looking at the bits of information I'm looking at there. So, yeah, unfortunately, I missed that off stream, John. I'm so sorry. But fair play to him there. So, just to show you as well. So, John Dudley's up 4 positions since the race start. Liam Smith's up 10 positions from the race start. The biggest loser has been Dominic Gise, of course, with the spin. Usmanov with 6 positions. Glenn Smith with 5, and Morris is down 6 positions as well. But as the track is drying up, it's not going to be long before it goes to a slow track, because yeah, it's not really that damp anymore, to be fair about it. I reckon it's not going to be too long. Stuart Pryor's also in the pits there now. Andy Pollycott is super close to Terry Dunn here. As I say that, Glenn Smith was nearly right in the rear of Augusto Jr. And I'm assuming Augusto will probably have to get out of the way. These guys here, Glenn's on an absolute flyer at the minute. Lovely stuff there, lovely jubbly. So we're only 15 minutes into this race. I feel like I'm after doing comms on a full race there. It's been quite energetic and busy and has everything going for it at the minute in terms of pace and the story. Glenn flashing those lights. There is a blue flag rule coming in for next season. It's going to be a 5-corner rule. Different splits have 5 corners to get out of the way of another split, especially if they're faster. If they're not faster, there's a difference. If they're in half a second, they'll have to get out of the way within 5 corners just to make life easier. And that'll be the same for blue flags for next season. Oh, as Pollycott has just lost it there. I don't know what's going on there. Pretty sure, was that Andy? No, it was Chris, was it? think it's Chris. He's back going now. That was a huge loss from him. Uh, Glenn's into the pits as Augusto Jr. Glenn will definitely come out ahead of him though, because Augusto has the damage. Sianaski absolutely on it there. But Fontanozzi, Tedder and Ryan have still not really changed positions. So that will change later on in this race. And can I just give a shout out to Anthony Ferrante as well, guys? He did start last, but he's up in P12 here now. And that's great to see. As I say that, just getting on with it beautifully. Back on with Dominic Issa there as he is tipping along nicely. Fastest car though in the speed trap, John Dudley's car. Not really a surprise. The Nissan's an absolute beast in the straight line, to be fair about it. And congratulations on LFI. They had a great 2.4 hour race just in the weekend gone. Artem Osmanov, our team driver, was racing in that one there. And it was Brianne's first time doing comms and broadcasting, so fair play to them as well for doing the comms and broadcast on it. And I suppose I might as well give a soft announcement now as well that we are opening up our own broadcast kind of college, you nearly say, or community, where we will be training anyone who wants to do broadcasting or commentary. We will help you develop your skills, and then any paid work that comes in, you keep 100% of it. We do not take any cut ourselves for it. We'll provide the YouTube channel and the Twitch channel for you to do the streaming on, and that's going to be affiliated with something quite nice soon as well. So that's going to be open quite soon for anyone who wants to do broadcasting or do commentary. Just hit me up in a PM and I'll get you involved as well. And I have Ace is going to be helping me do all this as well, which is super exciting, along with many other things we're doing in the background. Fontanozzi is now only 0.6 off. He's pulled out a bit of time on Chris Tedder there, so Chris might have had a bit of an error while I was talking a bit of poop, as I like to do every now and then, and give a few bits of information on what we're doing in the background to be busy. Stuart Pryor here though is saying, Colin, shut up and get on with this. Look at this. I'm going to be going for a move soon on Costa, says Stuart. You know, I'm sure Stuart would probably love to have Lance Stroll's seat in the Aston Martin and possibly could do a decent job there, as Sianaski is in the pits. As is Chris Tedder, Ryan O'Sullivan and Pavlov. Okay, so a good few people are in the pits now. Interesting. Okay, so on with the guys here. He's still back a little bit. So it's going to be more interesting for me here now. How long does Tedder and O'Sullivan stay stopped for? What's going to be the difference there? Is it going to be tyres, fuel? So I'll be looking to see the difference in time there, because a second, 2 seconds will mean the world of difference here. And what's this going to mean as well for Fontanozzi? Will the guys be getting a bit of an undercut? Will he be in this lap? It's only one mandatory stop here, don't forget. So stopped Chris Tedder was 32 seconds. Ryan O'Sullivan 35 seconds. So Chris Tedder might have jumped Ryan in the pits, to be absolutely honest. I think he has. Yeah, you can see it right there. There's Ryan just behind him. So Chris Tedder has got the undercut done essentially on Ryan and possibly Fontanozzi. Oh, Chris absolutely broadways there in the curb. Super eager now to start stretching the legs in that McLaren. Back on with Fontanozzi there. Is he? No, he's not going for the pits. He's continuing on. Wow. What about Duds? Duds is in the pits. Duds is reacting. So will Duds stay ahead of Pavlov or come up behind Pavlov now? That's going to be super interesting to see. Anthony Ferrante now up into P9. He must be getting dizzy. What a dude. Looking back behind, you've got Pryor, Costa and Usmanov within about 1.5 seconds of each other also. I'm sure Costa enjoying life quite a bit. I wouldn't say it's the easiest thing to be doing. So Costa is doing actually a decent enough job though, keeping him behind as well, because I personally would have assumed that the Aston Martin might have been faster around here. So that's super interesting to see. Usmanov still sitting there with him. Looking at John Dudley, he's leaving the pits now. There's Tedder going by him. There is Sullivan. Where's Pavlov? I think Dudley's got out clear of Pavlov by quite a bit actually as well. So the difference in pit time, Dudley 32 seconds, Pavlov 32 seconds. So no, John just done a better job, I suppose, and fair play to him. He's about 5.2 seconds clear of Pavlov. And he's only 3.9 seconds off Ryan O'Sullivan, who is about 1.5 seconds off Chris. I tell you one thing here, when you look at the genuine times that's going on at the minute, Dudley's having a super race in the Nissan. In the old GTR, lad. So Fantanuzzi, Morris, Bhutan and Dominic Issa have not pitted. Everybody else, other than Anthony Ferrantini, has done the mandatory stop. If there's any more stops, it's going to be either for a drive-through, damage, or they might have got tyres wrong. I wouldn't expect anyone else in other than one of the above, to be honest. Glenn Smith is starting to catch Anthony Ferrante at right in knots, and I'm sure Glenn will probably just want to get by and move on. So let's see what he does. Okay, he's catching him at quite a pace here. He's just going to have to wait though. Anthony though gets the corner wrong, and that just gives Glenn the time to get by, and possibly Sianowski as well. Well, Anthony's come back out. I think Anthony has a bit of front damage there on his car as well, so that's possibly not helping him as well. So I will assume Anthony's going to try and get into the pits in the next lap or two, serve his pit stop and fix that bit of damage as well, which is fair enough to do. Now looking all around at the minute, it's still a little bit spread out. Stuart Pryor there is still with Costa, but it's more so once Fantanuzzi, which has just jumped into the pits now with Bhutan and then Gise. If Bhutan pits as well as Dominic Gise, it's going to be quite interesting then to see where they feed out in terms of the racing then over the next while also. Oh, I hear a McLaren spun. Okay, I'm trying to think. Augusto, is it? It is Augusto, I think. Is he dropping on the exit? Yeah. That's really annoying. He's left room. Fair play to him. That's a fine enough one there. Right, so Fantanozzi, he is stopped now for 24 seconds. Where is Chris Tedder now? Coming up to the last corner with Ryan O'Sullivan just there. Fantanozzi is leaving the pit lane now. Chris Tedder going down the main straight. Fantanozzi though, of course, only coming off that pit speed limiter now. But Tedder will be coming at a right in knots here. Does Tedder jump Fantanozzi as well? Fantanozzi's coming out of the pits. Chris Tedder sounds like he's ahead. Right here, Fantanozzi and Tedder out side by side. Chris Tedder on the outside. He'll have hot tyres though. Is this going to be a move done by Chris Tedder? It is. He's got the undercut done. And he has the fresher tyres in terms of being up to temperature straight away. Fantanozzi though, of course, will be pushing hard to get those tyres right up to temps there. But Chris Tedder pulled off a great undercut there. In terms of pit stop time, Tedder and Fantanozzi the exact same, so that was just down to genuine pace then from Chris on the outlaps there to get that car up there. What a job by Chris Tedder, guys. Fantanozzi though is only half a second off, and so the job is not done by any means. There's still 51 minutes of racing to go. That was brilliant. Now let's see how this develops. Ryan O'Sullivan's only now a second off Fantanozzi as well. What what a race we're going to have here now. And of course, then we've got Pryor, Usmanov, Costa. You've got Terry Dunn there with Andy Polycott, Augusto Jr., Chris Polycott, only 4 tenths off that. No matter what, there's still battles through the grid here as well, which is what it's all about. It's what league racing should be all about there. And they're side by side nearly. And Polycott holds on to that position for a bit longer. And of course, it is a fight for position as they are both in the same splits. Only 3 people yet to pit: Maurice Boutin, Dominic Guisse, and Anthony Ferrante. Everybody else, as I say, is now pitted. Chris Tedder is after pulling under 10th there on Fantanossi as well, looking at everything that's going on. Ryan O'Sullivan's dropped back a little bit. I think Ryan's just trying not to overdrive the Aston now and maybe preserve tyres, knowing that it's going to be a longer race and it might come back to him at the end. This could be a game of anything happening. We've got Pryor, Costa, who's man of side by side. And it looks like Pryor got the job done. Costa under a bit of pressure now from Usmanov now as well. Fastest lap of the race goes to Sienaski now, 132.662 on a greasy track. So we're starting to get the track drying up now. And those dry tyres will start to really push ahead now. And we'll start to see a few more faster laps coming in as the grip starts developing on this track. It's going to stay dry, it looks like, for pretty much the rest of the race. Unless something drastically changes in the next half hour or so. Absolutely great stuff here. Looking now back further, Polycott's still having a bit of a fight. So Fantanossi is now 1.2 seconds off Chris Tedder. O'Sullivan's about 1.2 seconds off Fantanossi. So it's starting to spread out here. Chris Tedder starting to feel probably a little bit more comfortable now and just kind of get into his own rhythm. Dominic Guisse still having a good race there. He's quite a bit of time off Maurice Boutin. Morris now under a bit of traffic. I think this is the time for Morris to get into the pits, not get involved with these slower midfield drivers, and compared to his pace, being honest, and it's nothing against any of the drivers. I think he needs to get in now and not get himself head up. But every driver reacts differently to this stuff. If I was Morris, I'd be going straight into those pits. Because you see that flock of cars is just ahead of him as well. But Morris is staying out. Wow, okay. What about Dominic Guisse? He's probably going to stay out there. Fastest lap there, Chris Tedder, 131.632 this lap just now. The man is absolutely on fire there. Although Fantanossi coming back a little bit at him there. He's about 1.1 seconds off now. Ryan O'Sullivan is starting to drop off a little bit from the guys now. I'm just wondering, maybe is he just feeling a little bit different? He's trying to get the heat into the tyres, it looks like. Struggling on tyres. Is it maybe tyre pressure's wrong or something like that? Because of course the temperature's only dropped a degree as well, so it's not as if it's dropped majorly that way, but he might have just adjusted the tyre pressure slightly wrong. I'm just giving him a few excuses, that's all. But let's see what else does develop there. It looks like now Liam Smith in the pits. He got a drive through, did he? Or what's going on with Liam? Why is Liam in the pits? 1890. Is this Liam? Did I miss that Liam didn't do a pit stop? I thought he did do a pit stop. He's still ahead of Anthony Ferrante. But what's going on with Liam? 40 seconds stopped. Anthony Ferrante's after getting by him there. Costa, Terry Dunn's after getting by. What's happened to Liam Smith? He's gone straight to the pits. What happened to him? Okay. I'm sure I will find out in a while. Fantanossi now 0.4 of a second off Chris Tedder, as all craziness is going on elsewhere. Then we've got Pavlov, drive-through cleared for 744. 2744, that's Costa. What happened, Liam Smith? This can't be another issue. He had an issue on Friday which took him out of the race. I'm wondering, is it his pedals again? And he'd be absolutely good. He was having a great race. Wow, so Terry Dunn is now leading his split. Anthony Ferrante is P2 and Augusto Jr. is P3. How times change. Fantanuzzi though is right on Chris Tedder this lap here. 0.3 of a 0.5 of a second now. Was down to 0.3 there at one stage. So let's see what he can do. Liam Smith's still in the pits. I do have a feeling this brake pedal course is back to get him. Checking on my log as well. Oh, Liam is 22222. There's nothing there, so it has to be just an issue with software connection, something like that. That is heartbreaking. So Pavlov there, 0.6 of a second off Dudley. Pavlov's after pulling in a ton of time on duds. I am wondering, was Pavlov on wets as well, and that's why he dropped back, because he seems to have massive pace now. A 1:35.52 from the last lap. Sayanowski a 1:31.2 last lap around. So Sayanowski is absolutely on it. No other way to say that there. He's absolutely flying here. Ryan O'Sullivan now just goes for the fastest lap of 1:31.0. Apologies, I needed a drink there. My throat is cutting me. 1:31.082 there. Fantanuzzi now is only 0.2 of a second off Chris Tedder. So these guys are essentially fighting for the lead. I know they're down in third and fourth at the minute. Don't forget Dominic Gisa and Morris Bouton are yet to pit. And only 5 seconds off Dominic Gisa. Fantanuzzi super close to Chris. Chris will defend fairly but hard. I've had the pleasure of racing with Chris when I was kind of some way competitive for a few corners at the very least, and I've had some great battles. And I'm able to race with him side by side, which was the main thing, but he raced super hard, but it was always fair. A little bit squeezy bum at times, but or squeaky bum as they say at times, but really good stuff there. So Chris doing a great job there, holding Fantanuzzi at bay. And this is going to help Ryan O'Sullivan as well, because if these two are fighting hard, it's going to bring them back to him as well also. So on here now with Terry Dunn. 0.6 of a second off Usmanov, and is doing a phenomenal job out there. Back further again, Chris Polycott starting to pull into Costa here as well. Liam Smith is still in the pits. I'm absolutely devastated for him. Genuinely devastated for him. That is absolutely terrible. And Glenn Smith and Sayanowski after swapping positions. What happened there? Glenn was ahead. Did he just have a moment? Oh, he ran wide as can be, but whoa, got himself a bit of damage. But has kept it going. Two Split Murders not having the smoothest of races, although Glenn can't give out as much as what Liam can if it's the same thing coursing him again. Tedder still has Fantanuzzi behind. Ryan O'Sullivan's about 4 seconds off them now. Pavlov still about half a second off Dudley. Glenn's dropped to about a second off Sayanowski now after that little bit of an incident. But now we're down to 42 minutes to go. And as we see, there's just action still across the board. Anthony Ferrante is still yet to pit. I'm surprised he hasn't pitted yet. And I think it would be in his interest to pit soon enough, get on a lovely fresh set of tyres and get some fast laps in. But can I just say one thing as well? He's lapping quite decent as well. He's definitely not the slowest person out there on lap time, and that's genuine. Looking at the lap times, the last lap, the slowest lap was a 1:35.25, and Anthony was nearly a second quicker that time. Chris Tedder, as I say about fast laps, has the fastest lap of the race now at the minute again, a 1:30.850 last lap. That lad's had his cornflakes. We'll jump on with him now, so he's absolutely pushing that car to the limits there. Fantanuzzi's still with him. Fantanuzzi's about a second off now. Chris absolutely on hot lap heaven, enjoying himself out there this evening. And it's a big difference in a contrast of form when you get the right setup on the car. Look at him, look at the race on Friday on YouTube in our live streams, and then obviously tonight's race in our live streams. You're going to see a much different car in terms of characteristics and how it's thrown the car into the corner. You see the confidence he has to really hang the speed out and push the car to the limit on corner exits as well. He didn't have that on Friday. He just had such an understeery, wallowy car, which is a weird thing to say about a McLaren as well. But no, he's doing a great job here, so I'm delighted for him. Fantanuzzi, though, is keeping him absolutely honest. And as I say that there for Fantanuzzi, jumping on there now, he is right back up with him now. Dominic Isse, it sounds like, is just ahead of these. Dominic's not going to get involved. Dominic will get out of the way of Chris and Fantanuzzi and let them race. I don't even think Chris will need to do a flash once he gets near enough. Dominic will know, and I'm pretty sure they're in the voice chat together as well. Good stuff from them. I'm going to jump back though, because Glenn Smith is now coming back at Sianowski here any second. We'll see that. So Glenn, after his bit of a teething issue a few laps ago, is back and into it now. Unfortunately, we have lost Liam Smith in this race this evening as well, which is a massive loss, and I'm absolutely gutted for him, to be honest. That's very, very unlucky. But yeah, Glenn doing a great job there. He was thinking about it there. Of course, these race in the same split, so it is racing for position. That is super tough for him. I'm going to see. I'm going to ask Liam. Was it his pedals there really quickly just on Discord? See if he sees that. Okay, so Dominic Isse is after clearing the way there. So Chris Tedder now is clear. He does have Morris Bhutan is the only car ahead, but just 30-second difference there. Fantanuzzi's with them. So where does Dominic Isse now filter back in all of this? Back on with Fantanuzzi, and yeah, he is 0.4 of a second off. It seems like Chris does a hot lap then a slow lap, so every time he does a slow lap, Fantanuzzi's doing a faster lap. So I'm very interested to see, is this just a game? You can see the difference in that one corner alone. Chris pulls a little bit of time on him because he gets a much better exit. Oh, is that as a Ferrari off? Usually, is that Glenn or is that Finley? That's Finley. Glenn is still going strong there, fighting away. Unlucky Finley, keep her going. So Fantanuzzi in P3, still fighting away. Glenn Smith still fighting away down with Sianowski. Usmanov is still fighting away with Dawn. Dominic Isse filters back out into 12th position after his pit stop there. 13th possibly, actually. No, Glenn Smith's in the pits again. Huh? Why is he in the pits again? No clue what happened there. So Chris Tedder is in P2, Fantanozzi in P3. Morris Bhutan still leading by about 28 seconds. I'd say Bhutan possibly will feed back in around the Dudley Pavlov area. Ryan O'Sullivan has now the fastest lap again. He's a 129.712 with Tedder 129.755 last lap. Fantanozzi 129.935. So they're all pretty much within the same pace. I'm just wondering, did Ryan have a mistake or two that's maybe cost him a bit of time, and that's why he's so far off? Because he definitely has pace. So I'd be interested to see how his race went. Of course, I do follow him on YouTube, so I'll have a little nose later on. This battle is developing now. It is the closest battle on track, but Dominic Gisa is starting to pull up now on Andy Polycott. It looks like Anthony Ferrante has pitted and is moving forward. So Anthony Ferrante, 2 laps. Be interesting to see, can he pull anyway up to these guys. So Fantanozzi fast lap now at 129.515. Him, Ryan and Tedder are literally just throwing that little fast lap around. So Ryan just doesn't seem to be as consistent as the others. The other guys are staying in the mid 29s. Ryan's last lap was a 30.2. So I'm just wondering, is it that he's overdriving to try and catch up and maybe just running a bit too wide and slightly losing a bit of time? Or what is it that maybe is stopping him from being up there? Because he definitely has the pace. That's the biggest thing there. Konstantin Pavlov there doing a nice job. John Dudley, though, is holding with pace still. Do you know what doesn't make sense to me? Look at the lights in that Ford and look at the light it's given on track. It makes no sense. The other car's headlights are all bright. The Ford's barely on. Makes no sense to me. But anyway, that's the old man in me giving out. So Pavlov was faster last lap. Which is interesting. Maurice Boutin has finally come into the pits there now. And let's see where he does feed out. John Dudley, of course, should get by. He does indeed, as does Pavlov. I'm wondering, does Sajanowski get by, though? That'll be an interesting one. So Boutin stopped. I think Boutin might drop behind Sajanowski. He will. What about Pryor? He should get out ahead of Pryor. Yeah, he will get out ahead of Pryor. But oh, Maurice Boutin gets out just ahead of Sajanowski. Wow. Didn't think that was going to happen there. Maurice Boutin was stopped for 32 seconds on the button. That's a great recovery from what you're seeing at the start of the race. He just dropped backwards. He is after recovering up there. So Chris Tedder, of course, is P1 by about half a second currently with 32 minutes and 30 seconds to go. And just really quickly, I'm going to run on a full hot lap with Chris, and I'm just literally going to get a drink. So I'm going to have a full lap of just hot lap racing. Not gonna lie, I'm really loving the on boards there. Beautiful stuff there, Chris. All cars there in the 130s, no one then into the 129s. Maybe the tyres are starting to cry a little bit, but still half a second between them there. Pavlov's still about 0.6 of a second off John Dudley, but everybody else has spread out quite a bit. Ryan O'Sullivan's now nearly 7 seconds off these guys. So it just shows the pace that they're running at the minute is just huge. That's what it's all about. But I'm not gonna lie, absolutely loving the good racing here, and the fact that I was kind of a bit all up in the air as well. John Dudley's last lap was his fastest lap of the race at 130.672. Sianowski's was 130.047, fastest lap of the race for him also, as well as the Gisto Jr. 130.222. Chris Polycott's was a 131.475. They're all under fastest laps of the race so far. Dominic Giese struggling, it looks like, at the minute. And let me have a look here. I don't know what number was Glenn Smith. 777, I'm pretty sure. Was it? No, it's not letting me look at it. No, it's not letting me look at whatever that was with 777. We'll have a look after the race, I'm sure. Back on what we're doing now, which is the actual race. Yeah, so other than that then, let me see what other stats I can give you. So, yeah, up 8 positions is Terry Dunn. Tedder's up 3 positions. Sullivan's down 2. Dudley's up 4. 6 positions up for Sianowski. 4 down for Bhutan. 6 down for Dominic E. 6 up for Andy Polycott. Yeah, very good. Anthony Ferrante up 3 positions in P16 with the 3 DNFs of the 2ID team. Then Polycott then has started where he is at present. So Tedder still leading this race. It's rare enough that I do stay on with the leaders this long, but that's where most of the action has been for the last little while. Although Pavlov and Dudley are teasing at giving us a battle, Ford versus Nissan. Although the GTR in my hand wins. Look at that Repsol livery. Absolutely beautiful. Usmanov is threatening to go. Terry Dundo is leading the Pro-Am from Augusto Jr. Polycott then in P3 that one. So that should be quite interesting. Yeah, I don't know what happened, Liam. I'll have a look on the stream afterwards to see what happened to him. He said talent, so I'm assuming he might have binned it somewhere and called it a day then. Because he was out in the lead and he was doing a seriously good job as well. And it's a shame that he didn't finish the race because all points count for the championship that he is leading as well. So these things can happen. Dominic Issa and Usmanov now. Usmanov doesn't want to be losing out here. Dominic Issa carrying a lot more speed through that corner, using literally the whole track. But Usmanov is doing a good enough job holding him off at the minute. Augusta Jr. and Polycott as well, looking like they're looking for a bit of action. 0.4 of a second between these two. And Augusta, of course, with the front end, it looks like has got repaired to an extent. It's not near as bad as what it was after their first few laps. You just feel it's a matter of time here. Chris can only do so much, but Dominic Issa getting the job done on Usmanov. Let me see what's happened here. So Usmanov runs a bit wide, Issa on the inside. Oh. Well, I still think that was a racing incident from that view. Augusto Jr. 0.1 off. This is it going to be side by side. Polycott, Augusto, and It's looking like Augusto's going to get the job done. That's the race leader, Chris Tedder, with Fantanosi then just behind. Bad time for them guys to be coming across, battling back markers. Chris is going to need them out of the way ASAP. Augusto needs to get out of the way. He's not part of that battle. Augusto's letting them by. Ooh. But he didn't want to lose out. Luckily enough, he let them by somehow without an incident. I was starting to think that was going to be painful, but fair play to him. He got the move done on Polycott and keeps the position. Back to this one. Pavlov and Dudley now is half a second, so closest on the track now. They both set fastest lap times last time round, and Pavlov was a 1:29.995. Dudley's was a 1:32.05. So definitely both are giving it everything. Morris Bhutan is the fastest lap of the race, a 1:29.182. By the way, I did miss that a few laps ago, and he's still lapping in the 1:29, so he's the fastest man on track after his pit stop as well. So it goes to show those fresh tires are super fast. Fantanosi still doing a good job behind Tedder. Polycott and Augusto kind of hinting at maybe another battle, but it's not close enough. Dudley and Pavlov definitely is looking like it's going to be a superly interesting battle, because Dudley is just doing enough to stick ahead, but it's kind of at that phase that Pavlov is slightly faster, but just Pavlov has nowhere to go though, because Dudley's only slightly slower. Dudley can really defend like a good thing as well. And both cars are very, very fast in a straight line as well. It's Dudley and Pavlov show, in case you haven't known. Of course, Dudley is a previous champion in our former guise of FFG before we moved to Supercharged Motorsports just under a year, no, nearly a year ago. Back in December, I think it was changed. So, yeah, Dudley is a former champion in our community and is doing his May West. Dominic Gise is looking to get by Terry Dunn, although Terry Dunn is just going to jump out of the way. Different splits. See, that's exactly, to me, what makes sense, is that just get out of the way. Different split, you're leading it. The nearest thing to Terry Dunn's 11 seconds away. Just get it over with and get on with it. So fair play to Terry Dunn. Costa and Polycott have swapped around. Pretty much the same thing. Pavlov and Dudley are side by side now. Back on with this one here. This is a drag race of the ages. Although Dudley's taking the inside line. Dudley's being very fair, giving Pavlov the room. Dudley's coming back at him though. Dudley's going to lose going the wide way around, unfortunately. So Pavlov has got that position through. And I'm going to go back 30 seconds to watch this move develop. So John made a slight mistake there in the corner, and that's what's led him then to be side by side like that. So John lost about 3/10. And then was super fair. John could have been a little bit more aggressive, but then again, we know that doesn't really work in this kind of track. So I have to say, good fair racing from both. And hopefully this has to end, I think, 5 seconds, because the guys are side by side again, and I need this to go off the replay there. Similar part of the track again. Starting the next lap, 0.4 of a second between them now. Let's see, can John come back at him? He's 21 minutes to do so. I tell you about, overtake John Dudley and it motivates him. Look at him, he's right there with him. Can he hold the pressure of someone right on his tail? So it looks like Pavlov is able to pull away slightly. So this is where possibly Pavlov, who was slightly faster overlap, might now at the free air be able to pull up those little bit of a gap. John will give it everything. Interesting. I'm going to jump back on though to Polycott and Costa as well. These guys are battling quite hard as well. Costa there as well, doing a nice job. Ahead of them is Morris Bhutan. And flying along, so they are. Fantanuzzi done his fast lap of the race last lap around at 29.440. Morris Bhutan's fast lap is a 28.727, so Morris Bhutan was in a different league in terms of fastest lap. I'm sure maybe he was hoping that it was dry at the start of the race. But I suppose you've got to play the cards you're dealt. Fair play to him. Doing a good job. Back on though with Dudley and Pavlov TV. Dudley is slowly dropping off, so it does seem he could have possibly held him behind. But now that Pavlov's being released a little bit, he's pulling away slightly, although Dudley's coming back a little bit at him. But I do feel that just those slight few tenths of a difference a lap could be it. Now, of course, Pavlov can make an easy, simple error, and Dudley's back to where he is and defends and keeps the position. So, be nice to see how it goes. Dudley was much stronger in the rain, it seems, as well, than Pavlov. So maybe conditions now are suiting Pavlov in the Ford a bit more, as he has pulled just over a second now on Dudley. Ryan O'Sullivan's pulled back some of the deficit. He's down to about 5 seconds off Fantanozzi now. It was slightly higher. And Fantanozzi is still there with Tether all along. Like, this is from Tether's car, you look at the rear wing and that's it. He's right there. Chris on the power a bit early, bit of wheel spin. Sorry about that, I was just getting another drink. All this talking. But yeah, Fantanuzzi still there. Dudley is still sticking with Pavlov. He's back under a second now. Dudley is keeping him honest. We can give Dudley that, and it's a phenomenal drive as well. When you think about it as well, he's driving such an older car. I know there's an LFM bot, but it doesn't make it any easier. I know the Nissan, I love it, but it can be a little bit understeery compared to this. Doesn't seem to have the front end of some of the newer cars. So what John's doing in it is absolutely phenomenal. Fantanuzzi, of course, still there. Pryor doing a great job. I'm going to do a normal run through that I normally do of all the drivers. So, of course, I'm with Anthony Ferrante here in P16. And the reason why I think he's doing really well in the championship as well is the fact that he finishes races. Every race that he's in, he finishes regardless of if it's a good race, a tough race, or whatever it may be. He really gives it everything. Then we have Costa and P15 doing a very good job. Of course, he's had a tough one compared to most, but kept it going with 2 pit stops, of course. Then we got Chris Polycott doing a great job there in 14 positions. He is up 1 position. Costa was down 5 and Ferrante was up 3. Then we go from Chris Polycott to Andy Polycott, who's up 5 positions from his original race start and doing a very good job. Augusto Jr. is back to where he qualified, P12, and is sticking there after quite a tough start to the race. So I'm sure it's what could have been from a great recovery. The fact that he's now P2 in his split, fair play to him. Then we have Artem Usmanov, who's down 2 positions. So could be slightly further up the grade, but the race just hasn't planned out that way for him. But still great driving from him. Then Terry Dunn is up 7 positions and is leading his split as well. So good stuff there from Terry Dunn this evening. Dominic Issa is unfortunately down 4 positions, but still having a great recovery, if we're honest. Of course, it did start off wet and is snapped, but it's still only a fast track. It's not optimum yet. So the track is still slowly getting faster as well. So I'm expecting possibly 1 or 2 more faster laps. It's almost due a Pryor now, who's actually up 3 positions here. So He's had a good race so far as well, and Dominic Issa is trying to make it be a less good race from because he's super close to him there. Then we've got Steinowski, who's been involved in loads of action this evening and is running P7 there, up 6 positions, started 13th, currently running P7, so fair play to him. And a redemption race for Maurice Boutin, who was in P2, of course, just went backwards at the start of the race. I'm pretty sure he started on dry tyres and tried something different. But he's consistently been the fastest man on track since his pit stop now. And it's a race of what could have been, but you know what? It looks like he's still having fun out there. And it's just one of those tracks we were talking about beforehand. It's super technical and a great track as well. Then up 3 positions is John Dudley, who is fighting with Pavlov and having a good battle. He's 1.5 seconds off Pavlov now, so I do feel possibly this may be just gone out of his reach, and possibly P5 is the highest he'll be on the grid, but we'll see. It's still 15 minutes to go, or just under 15 minutes now, and we'll see how that goes. We'll jump on with Pavlov there, who's up 2 positions, of course. Lost out to John at the start of the race in the rain. Just the Ford wasn't enjoying it, but he's seems to got a rein in on the Ford now and is doing a super job in that, and yeah, doing very, very well. Brian O'Sullivan did start on pole, and unfortunately for him is down into P3 now with down 2 positions, but still a super race for him, being lapping quite fast as well. His best lap was a 1:29.712. Pavlov's putting his fastest lap at 1:29.877. So Pavlov as well, super close with the faster guys. Then P2 Fantanozzi, super job from him as well. He's up 1 position, started in 3rd on the grid, and is keeping tether quite honest, still only about 0.6 to 0.7 off Chris. And of course, speaking of Chris, on with him now, started in P4, up 3 positions, and that undercut was probably the best thing he could have done there. And once he got ahead on that pit exit, he's kept it there even with all the pressure, all the traffic, and is holding on his own. And this could be his first win in the Wednesday season in quite a while, if I remember correctly. Of course, I know he did have the win in 2 weeks ago in the sprint race. Just trying to think back that far. So I'm sure he'll be quite happy if he's able to hold this position for the next 13 minutes and cross that line. Of course, Fantanuzzi doing everything in his power to try to get by. But now that that's done, we'll jump back on because Gisa is all over the back of Stuart Pryor here and is possibly about to make a move. It all depends on what Stuart Pryor can do. Can he keep him behind? Is there anything he can do? Oh, he runs a bit wide though. Dominic Gisa will have the run here now. They're side by side. Dominic Gisa is just ahead. Pryor's going to go late in the breaks, but gets out of it instead. He said, no, I'm not going to go with that. So Dominic Issa gets by there. I think that was nice, fair racing from both of them. I think Pryor doesn't knew it wasn't a defence to be had, really. So he's probably lost less time doing what he's done than if he tried to defend. So smart driving from Pryor here in turn doing that, and also avoids any complications of an impact as well. So well done to him. It's quite spread out other than Fantanozzi and Tedder. It's kind of spread out a little bit now. John Dudley's 1.3 seconds off. Pryor's about a second off Dominic Issa now. Costa and Polycott might be a potential race soon enough. We shall see how that develops out there as well. But yeah, Dominic doing a super job there. Sianaski there has Costa now just ahead of him, and he's going to get out of the way, it looks like. So that is Costa out of the way now, Sianowski, and he can just focus on Terry Dunn is after. No, not drop position. The game has just gone mad for a second with the data, but it's all back and good. So Pryor is actually not too far off Dominic still. He's holding in about half a second, 0.6 of a second off. So it still could change. I'll be surprised if it did, because I know Dominic overlap has been faster. Looking just literally at the data. As I say that, Pryor's got by him. So going back to what actually happened with Dominic. got the chicane just wrong, but I doubt that's going to be too much longer. He's about half a second off Pryor now. But he will need to put all that work back in to get back by. I commentate, of course, pretty much every driver. And Pryor is actually still holding his own. He's still half a second clear. Of course, let's see, can he do it for the next 10 minutes now? As we are just literally on that 10-minute mark now. So essentially, we'll have about 6-7 laps of racing left, and that is a 41 laps in at the minute. Chris Tedder 0.345 of a second now. Tedder done his fastest lap of the race last lap round, 129.607, has now just done a 129.625. So Chris is still lapping quite strong. Fantanosi's fastest lap though of the race compared to Tedder's is actually slightly faster, 129.440. But Maurice Boutin, by far the quickest lap there, 128.547, nearly a second faster than Fantanosi and over a second faster than Chris Tedder. So goes to show, if Maurice didn't have any issues, it would have been great. But now look at this, Dominic Issa going around the long way, somehow making it work. Pryor though not over fighting it again, and Dominic is back through. Dominic needs to keep his eye on it. Fantanuzi here though, this is the closest I've seen it, 0.1 of a second. Oh, he is putting the pressure on Chris. This is what it's all about here now. McLaren versus Ferrari, pretty much like F1 in real life. Fortunately for Ryan though, Aston Martin in real life wouldn't be as close as what he is. But this is developing into quite a little juicy battle. Maurice Boutin is on the back of Dudley as well for position. Maurice could pip P5. Not sure if he has the pace to catch up to P4, but he's only 2.5 seconds off Pavlov. Fantanosi and Tedder are absolutely a piece of paper you can split between them. That's about it. Oh, Fantanosi gets a bit sideways on the exit. That's going to drop him maybe 2/10 by the next corner. Well, it's 1/10 anyway. Wow. Chris, he's delighted with that because it gives him a bit of breathing room. Look at this here. Boutin right on the back of Dudley. Oh my god. Maurice absolutely out for another position now. He still has his rain light on. As does Duds, I think. But 0.2 of a second splits than Fantanuzi, 0.1 of a second. Maurice is going for it. Oh, I think it was just a little bit of a sending. He could have waited. John was entitled to his room there as well. But yeah, so that's John back anyway. Clear of Maurice. That's that race over with pretty much, I would say. Back on now with Usmanov because he is going to be under pressure soon from Augusto. Now Usmanov, of course, is a different split. It's not going to really affect his race. It won't really bother him to let him by if he needs to, because yeah, it doesn't affect his race at all. And this is the thing, you're allowed race and overtake even if you are a different split in terms of once you're not holding up the other split. So, you know, if it is a case that Augusto goes for the move and keeps it, he's allowed to have the attempt to pull away as well. Of course, next season we will be changing blue flag rules as well as the rules of the splits. It's going to be a 5-corner rule coming in for that as well. But Fantanuzi back down now to 2/10 of a second with Chris Tedder here. 5 minutes and 40 seconds to go. 0.3 of a second now. It's literally so close. This is absolutely brilliant. Two different slight lines through the corner. Heather seems to have got the slightly better exit, but it's hard to know. Fantanuzzi right there with him. Fantanuzzi definitely faster through turn 1 than him. He's after pulling 2/10 in from point 4 to point 2. So you can just see where the Ferrari seems to have a much nicer balance in terms of front end to rear end, although a bit sideways there, but still keeps it with 2/10 in. He was down to 1/10 there for a second. Then you see Chris was able to handle a bit more speed through there and up 2/10 and possibly 3/10 by the end of the straight, carrying the extra speed. And you can tell the difference in strength of the car. McLaren mid to high speed corners, pretty much like in real life as well as Formula 1, they're just absolutely on it. But the Ferrari right there then, it seems to have a much better balance. Chris is a bit more knife edge in terms of the way the McLaren, you have to drive it anyway. But it's really interesting seeing the different lines and the different approaches to the corners as well. Obviously, characteristics of cars will have a bit there. You can see how fast the Ferrari is there in those slower corners than the McLaren on exit. Gets a slightly better exit and is able to start to open up a little bit. But the Ferrari in the slipstream there as well is genuinely not losing too much time at all. And Fantanuzzi on the exit here, 0.2 of a second now again. He's just within that, just about being able to make the move, and then Tedder's able to close that off. Morris Boutan's within 7/10 of John Dudley, so we could have a few battles to look at. Augusto Jr. half a second between Usmanov before the race win now. It's only 0.3 of a second off at the minute, 0.4 of a second now after that corner, and it just seems that they're trading tenths every corner or two. So we've essentially 2 laps of racing to go. Fantanuzzi doing a phenomenal job there. Morris Boutan though is side by side with John Dudley. John though is given the room. Bit aggressive. Was there enough room given? We'll see after, but it looks like he's given the position back, which I think is only fair. No, he's not. Okay, maybe I'm wrong. Morris keeps the shoe in. Personally, I think he should have given that position back due to the contact, but then again, sure as a look at it afterwards. I'm only looking at it in the heat of the moment. Anthony Ferrante is in the pits. Fantanuzzi, 0.4 of a second. There will be 2 more laps looking at them now. I would have thought it was a little bit more, but the guys have been super fast there. There is 2 more laps left to go in this race there. Fantanuzzi from Tedder, it's going to be a guess. Ryan O'Sullivan is now 7.3 seconds off these guys. Pavlov is 20 seconds off them, so Pavlov is out of the count there. Morris Boutan now about 3 seconds clear of John Dudley. Augusto Jr. and Usmanov within 2/10 of each other as well. Usmanov still holding them off. This is probably just more of a battle for fun now, more than anything else with these 2 cars, as they are different splits. Fantanuzzi here. Ooh. Tedder pulled out now to 6/10 of a second here. Fantanuzzi maybe he's just holding off for maybe one last dive. Oh, runs wide there. Still half a second. Literally coming on now to the last lap between both of these guys. And absolutely epic racing throughout the grid. Of course, the 3 2ID drivers, between bad luck or whatever else, have not finished the race here this evening. But it'll be through their own bad luck. Unfortunately, there was no major incidents really to report on the track here, as Augusto looks like he's just got Usmanov literally coming out of the second last corner hairpin. Unfortunately, missed that on the stream itself. But good job by both of them. But I am literally going to wait now for this. Chris Tedder now is 0.8 of a second clear of Fantanucci now. So this is it, the last lap for the two, well, for everybody now. But this has been great racing. But Chris Tedder has kept concentration, needs not to kill himself on that corner, and has lost 3/10. He's flashing out, it looks like. Anthony Ferrante's got out of the way, as has Fantanucci. So Anthony Ferrante clear. It looks like Pryor's up the road from the next. Chris Tedder now only 0.6 of a second off Fantanucci. If Chris gets held up, which he shouldn't do with the gap between Pryor and Chris, although Chris is flashing, he's get the fuck out of the way. He doesn't want anyone in between them now. And they're coming up now to the last corner now in a second. Pryor's well out of the way. This one doesn't want anything to do with it. And so up to the last corner we go for the last time here with Chris Tedder and Fantanucci this evening. 0.3, 0.4 of a second between them. And going up towards the line now is the race winner, Chris Tedder for Amigos Fantanucci in P2. Absolutely brilliant racing there. Ryan O'Sullivan's going to come up now for P3 there. Very well earned from him. A race of what could have been possibly for him. Then we've got Pavlov coming up for P4 now in a second. Pavlov 4.4 seconds clear of Maurice Boutin there. So Konstantin Pavlov coming across the line there now in P4. But behind him there, Maurice Boutin coming home for P5. With John Dudley coming back in P6. An epic race from John Dudley. I do feel he deserved better personally for that job he did this evening. Then Sayonowski coming on P7. Dominic Gisa in P8. Pryor on P9, Usmanov P10, Polycott P11. Well, it's gone a bit weird because some of them have left the thing. Guys, that was absolutely phenomenal racing this evening here. We will be back live, of course, in the coming days with our next events, of course, on a Friday this week. We'll go back down to the sprint races. Of course, though, we will be going to a different track as we've already done Zolder last Friday. So what you're going to see this Friday will repeat then on Wednesday. So I suppose just to give you a heads up on where we are going, we are doing the 30 minutes on this Friday on, I'm pretty sure it is Donington. And then next Wednesday, of course, being that we are on Donington as well, it is, I'm pretty sure, a 60-minute race for that one as well. But that was absolutely brilliant this evening. Some great racing there. And yeah, I'm just super excited about how this is going. As I say, we do have, I'm just going to open up our single page. So we do have, of course, the Friday sprints. You can just register for that and join in. I don't even have an entry list anymore for that. Just register so the points can get thrown up there. We do have then spaces in the season 6, but there's not many races left. Our one-off GT3, GT2 and GT4 race. You can do it solo or duo, is open for registration. That starts on September the 15th. And then we have our iRacing Championship starting on September the 15th also. So that's going to be a super busy Sunday. And yeah, look guys, we will see you on Friday for Donny, round 7 I think it is of the Friday sprints. And thank you so much for watching or re-watching. Do not forget to subscribe, and we'll see you for the next one. But congratulations to Chris Tedder and Fantanucci. That was just an absolute pleasure to watch. Have a great one, guys.
You know I don't play right. Just give me the word, you know I don't play right. Don't give me this. I'm gonna get back when I feel like. You know I don't play right. I'll put up a good fight. Just give me the word, you know I don't play right. You know I don't play right. Don't give me this. I'm gonna get back when I feel like.